Okay, so our final movie for this week that we covered is a movie called Armand. It is the lead actress is
Long.
what? Armand?
I was trying to finish your sentence. It
Oh
is
no, no,
long.
no, it's long. I don't think it's long, but the movie that we're
Feels
covering,
it.
the oh, it feels it. The final movie we're covering is Armand, and it centers on Elizabeth. She is, quote, a defamed actress who is called into a parent-teacher meeting after hours, and she is presented with scathing allegations that trigger a tangled web of accusations between parents and faculty. As Elizabeth struggles to uncover the truth amid the empty schoolrooms and dark corridors, a chaotic fight for redemption arises where desire, madness, and obsession prevail. It's written and directed by Halfdan Ullman Tondell, and it's in theaters February 7th and wider release on February 14th. A lot of you may know Renate Reinsve from the movie The Worst Person in the World from several years ago. That film brought her into international stardom. Most recently, she was seen in the Apple TV series or miniseries series, Presumed Innocent. And I think Eric and Bruce reviewed her movie from last year. It's called Handling the Undead. Yeah, that is Renate Reinsve, and I really love this movie. We're gonna get to my very quick thoughts, but let's get to Eric's thoughts on Armand.
Well, this movie started off great. Once you got the two parents and the lady that works at the school,
Right.
she kind of got tasked with talking to the two different uh the parents about their
Their
kids who
kids, yeah.
had a
What
was
is
it
it?
like a sexual misconduct? Was it
Right.
something innocent like two kids playing doctor? Like they're trying to figure out what it was.
Sure.
Uh, one set of parents are horrified by the allegations. The other parent is basically blindsided by all this and
Yeah.
doesn't know what to think. And the lady tasked with talking with them, she's kind of ill-equipped to lead this conversation. But she's up to the task, but we don't know that she's capable, I guess. And it starts off like I'd say like the first half hour, I'm like, we're in banger territory. I'm loving this movie. This is gonna be so good. And then it hits a point where the mom, the one that's by herself, she starts laughing for an uncomfortable amount of time
Yeah.
to the point where I'm thinking, is this gonna be the rest of the movie? Like they kept going and kept going. I'm like, I'm gonna start fast forwarding this. Let's like
Yeah.
like from that point on, the movie starts. I don't want to say experimental filmmaking. It's more like experimental storytelling. Um, thing about experiments is that it doesn't always work. In this case, this is a failed experiment because after that point, they started making weird changes. They stopped giving a crap about the story they were telling. They just kind of abandoned it. And then when they did go back to the story, it was unsatisfying. And they had like I don't know, there was like a sort of a dance number, I guess.
Yeah.
There was
A couple, right? Yeah.
a few like what do you call it? What do they call it kind of dance where you just like interpretive dance kind of
Sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
And like the second half could have been its own interesting movie on its, by itself. But I was already invested in the story and the characters, and then they just chucked it all out the window to say, "Hey, we're gonna do weird crap now." I'm like, "Well, cool. Now I don't give a crap." And
That's fair.
that movie just went from oh we're working at a five-star movie to what the hell? Stop! Don't, dude. Imagine you're just making this wonderful dish and then someone just comes in and is like, we need to throw some peanut butter and ketchup on it. I'm like, please don't. Oh, well, you did it. Cool. You ruined it. Thanks. This is not a recommend. I do not like this movie.
Third act, you were just no, not even. It just
Not even the third act. After she starts laughing, from that point on, the movie just lost me. So
wow.
I'd say when did that happen? Like a half hour in, 40 minutes in, something like that.
Yeah.
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 If you watch it, I mean, I don't, I didn't. watch Bruce's thing yet. He emailed it to us, but I haven't watched his thing yet, so I don't know what he thinks of it. And we're about to hear what you think of it. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, and this is
Oh, there's no wrong or
utterly
right.
brilliant. But this, yeah, this just feels like they had a start of a story, and then they just gave up on it halfway through.
It's written and directed by Halfdan Ullman Tondell, and Halfdan is the grandson of Ingmar Bergman, filmmaker Ingmar Bergman,
Oh,
and actress Liv Ullmann. So
makes sense.
he comes from a
It's all
very
coming together
he's
now.
a Norwegian filmmaker with a great lineage. Armand won the Camera d'Or for best first feature at the 2024 Cannes Film Festival. Eric actually made some really good points about the interpretive dance, the surreal nature of the second act that may turn off a lot of people. I think the last time I checked on Rotten Tomatoes, critics gave it it had a 73% rating from critics. So
Jesus.
it is
Why do you
divisive.
like bad movies so much? Give me,
No,
you
this
know
is
what? I'm not going to feel bad about these Dermot Mulroney directed video movies anymore. If this is the kind of crap that's lauded and seen as great, I will take my Dermot Mulroney movies and enjoy them on my own lonesome.
so Tondell was inspired by Bob Foste's classic All That Jazz, which is itself is sort of a surreal it has its weird surreal moments. So he put some of that aesthetic into Armand. Elizabeth, I mean, this is this my interpretation. She is going through a mental health not crisis but journey right now because she's learning about Armand that he could have done this either sexual or abusive situation with a fellow classmate. She doesn't feel like she knows her son and she's surprised at what's going on. Eric mentioned a scene which lasts about 7 minutes where she is laughing uncontrollably and she's processing all the accusations that are being levied against Armand. And that laughing sequence will either pull you in or, as in Eric's case, absolutely pull you out. Currently, I mean, it's only February, but that laughing scene is one of my favorite moments in cinema so far this year. And probably if I put it in last year, it would have been right high up there as well. It's a tour de force performance by Renate Reinsve, and I was blown away by Armand. I, every single second, the surreal moments to me were really well done because it's sort of mirroring what Elizabeth is going through. The third act, when you're figuring out is her son abusive? Did is what happened between the kids? Did that actually happen, or was it a falsity, or where was the truth in all the matter?
On the
That's
in the third act, it wasn't in the third act. They just ignored it and then just barely paid lip service to any of it during the third act. They were
really
like they were like dead serious about it in like the first 30 minutes, and then after it went crazy, it's like, this is a very serious matter, and we got to take this seriously. We're going to start up a dialogue, and then they go off on doing other bull crap, and then they come back. And it's like this is a very serious matter, and we gotta take it seriously. But also that part doesn't matter, but we got to do this other thing. It's like, oh God.
no. In my opinion, they completely solved what happened between the kids. It's a lot of the stuff is inferred. There is a very beautiful visual sequence at the end. We don't want to really describe what happens at the end, but you as a viewer are left with a couple of things about to figure out what actually happened. But by the end, you know exactly what the truth is. But again, to Eric's point,
The
it
truth
will.
is, this movie's not very good.
The truth is, this is a five-star film for me, and it's easily
Oh
going to
my
be
God.
probably one of my favorites of the year. I was absolutely entranced and immersed with Armand. The performance by Renata is fantastic. This is just pure immersive cinema at its best. And it's very nerve-wracking because Rihanna she gives a really great nerve-wracking performance, and I loved all of the elements of it. It's set in a school. You get a claustrophobic feel, but then there's a lot of things that open up the narrative as well as it goes on. So, by the way, Bruce Purkey will have a review of Armand, and I'm not gonna say where his review is. It might be Eric's, might be closer to Eric, might be closer to mine. Give it a listen over at the Cinematic. I'm glad that Eric and I had this disagreement on the efficacy of Armand. Again, my rating for Armand in theaters February 7th, wider release is February 14th, is 5 stars. Absolutely might be. I think it'll be in my, I don't know. Well, it can't be a top 10 in 2025 because it was released 2024. This would have been a top 10 from 2024. Eric Holmes, your final thoughts and rating on Armand,
This movie could have been like as great as Mass, but it turned out to be more like Bad Luck Banging or Looney Porn.
which I
Uh,
think is a classic movie as well. I love Bad Luck
that movie
Banging.
sucks so hard. It moves so far up
That's
its own butt. It's ridiculous.
it's a
That
great
this
movie.
this movie abandoned its premise and decided that hey, we're gonna do weird experimental filmmaking because we don't have any more story to tell. I guess nothing more interesting to say, so we'll just we'll dazzle you with nonsense. This movie's really bad. Could have been great. Started off wonderful, and then just kind of devolved into nothing. This is a star and a half, and I'm being
What
generous.
a generous star and a half from Eric Holmes, 5 stars from me, and of course you're gonna get Bruce's review later on, actually in a few moments with Cinematic.